Solid posts like these, found near the White House in Washington, are also in cities all over the country, protecting pedestrian areas, including in New Orleans, where they will soon host the Super Bowl. But our Scripps News investigation found posts like these in New Orleans are often missing or broken. The ISIS-inspired driver of a pickup truck was able to steer around a single police car and speed down Bourbon Street, killing 14 people. Video released by the FBI, filmed by the suspect on a bike months before, shows him riding over a vehicle barrier out of service. Scripps News has learned non-functioning and missing vehicle barriers were a security gap the city of New Orleans knew about and left open years before the New Year's tragedy. The city first installed barriers known as bollards after a 2016 vehicle ramming attack in Nice, France, left 86 dead. A New Orleans public safety report the next year pointed to danger on densely packed Bourbon Street, saying it has become clear how popular tourist areas can be threatened by attackers with vehicles and weapons. The bollards went up, and soon the trouble with them began. Scripps News obtained a copy of a confidential 2019 security assessment that found the current bollard system on Bourbon Street does not appear to work. Even if it does, the bollards do not appear to be in use. Don Aviv is president of the company Interfor that conducted the assessment 6 years ago.
The topic of bollards was a big source of confusion, and bollards and barriers. There were some that weren't working, some that didn't appear to be working. We were told that some were kept open purposefully.
But few people knew about those problems. The summary version of the report released by Interfor in collaboration with the French Quarter Management District only mentioned that bollards should be fixed and improved immediately. We asked why the warnings in the full report were not revealed to the public. In an email to Scripps News, the executive director of the district said, had the full report been published, it would be a blueprint for criminals, exposing all the vulnerabilities of the French Quarter. For years after that security report sounded the alarm, broken bollards went unaddressed. We obtained video filmed days after the attack by a museum security director who points out a bollard no longer secured to the ground near Jackson Square, an area teeming with tourists.
Using it as an ashtray now. Those are the foundations where they normally stand.
When we looked up the busy location on Google Street View, it shows a bollard off its mooring and pushed aside 4 years ago, January 2021. Another Street View image in 2022 reveals a bollard missing entirely next to a no vehicles allowed sign, leaving an opening wide enough for any large truck to pass through.
And this is where they're now sitting them.
The state lieutenant governor says the city failed to act on multiple requests to fix the bollards.
2 years we've been asking to get them replaced. I didn't let that out to the public because we didn't want people to know you could drive through that pedestrian mall.
Bollards are just one persistent security challenge. The 2019 confidential report identified other vulnerabilities in the French Quarter, saying security provided by multiple agencies was handled in a patchwork manner with improper or insufficient coordination, noting there's not nearly enough visible police presence in the French Quarter. Yet New Orleans police staffing levels didn't go up, they dropped. The Louisiana legislative auditor finding the number of commissioned NOPD officers plunging 23% from 2019 to 2023. Police are also taking longer to respond to emergencies, with response times in the French Quarter rising from 8 minutes in 2021 to 10 minutes in 2023. Aviv says more police on New Year's could have helped by either parking more patrol cars to block intersections or by taking out the truck driver sooner.
We could have prevented the attack from being as deadly as it likely was, but we may not have been able to prevent the attempt itself.
We shared our findings with City of New Orleans officials and asked a series of questions. Instead of answers, a spokeswoman sent a statement saying the black removable bollards previously installed at key locations along Bourbon Street proved unreliable and have been non-operational. The city was in the midst of a months-long project to replace the barricade system when the attack happened. Since New Year's, New Orleans has been installing new barriers to stop vehicles from driving into areas packed with football fans going to the Super Bowl, another test of the city's security. New Orleans police did not respond to our inquiries about why those barriers had been broken for so long and whether there are any plans to try to reverse the trend of longer police response times. Patrick Terps for Scripps News, Washington.